Good morning to all of you, or good afternoon to some of you as well. My name is Quek. If you can hear me, can you please say a hi inside the chat box? Let me feel some human warmth. Hi. Okay, so thank you very much. And hi to all of you again. I hope you already have your breakfast or lunch. Now, don't worry. We call it a training, but not so a training. You are just here to listen to me a little bit. And then the most important, don't forget to respond to me. It feels kind of sad if I talk alone. Okay. Now, my name is Quek, as introduced by Joanne just now. I am an ACCA lecturer. I teach in audit, tax, business, and also management accounting. Okay. More important, I am an ACCA CBE trainer as well. I've run CBE training in several places around Malaysia. I'm also an ACCA affiliate. Okay. Now, affiliate means what? Affiliate means I already passed the exam. Okay, and let me proudly say to you, I passed my exam on part-time basis or on first attempt. Okay, now normally in a physical training session, I would request applause from you. But here, never mind, I will just keep it in my heart and you keep it in your heart also. Okay, now anyway, that is me, my name, and my picture. I'm not sure if I looks like my photo. Do I look like my photo? What do you think? Okay, no worry, no worry if I don't look like my photo. I didn't know I was going to on the camera. If I know I was going to on the camera, I wouldn't skinny the face so much. Then it would look the same. Just the face only, right? So if I cover like this, it's the same. Okay, so anyway, you will be able to recognize me from the photo. Now, just straight go into the key point today. We want to talk about CBE. Okay. Now, before we go into computer-based exam, currently there is three type of exam for your ACCA exam. Three type of exam method for your FIA and also ACCA. So we have a new method which is computer-based. We have the last time traditional method which is paper-based. Okay, now going forward, ACCA will be moving all the exam into computer-based using computer. But as of now, some of it is still paper-based. Okay, but don't worry, that is not our concern. Today we are talking about computer-based. Okay, now even if we are talking about computer-based, there is two types of computer-based exam. One is on-demand CBE, one is session CBE. Okay, now what is the difference? What is the difference? Let me tell you very simply. On-demand CBE is the one you are going to love a lot. Okay, but please don't go home and tell your mom, Mom, I love the ODCBE a lot. Your mom maybe will think something might be wrong. Why do you love your exam? Now, not to say you will love the exam, but it would be a much more preferred way of exam to you because it's much more simple compared to session CBE. Okay, now we go to the next slide. Huh? Now, some of the exam is on ODCBE, some of the exam is on Session CBE. Now, for FIA paper, all of it is on ODCBE, on-demand computer-based exam. Okay, only for the CAT, some of the optional paper will be Session CBE. Later, I'll tell you what is the difference. Now, for ACCA, only the first three paper is on-demand CBE. After that is Session CBE. Okay, come, let's talk about the difference. Let's talk about the difference now. Now, on-demand CBE and session CBE, how do you liaise for exam is different. Okay, now for on-demand CBE, which is our core topic today, for on-demand CBE, you liaise with exam center. So you are the one that have to call up the exam center. You have to talk to them, ask them when is the schedule, and then you book the exam. And then the the exam center will liaise with ACCA. This is what you are going through. Okay. However, later when you go to session CBE, Later, when you go to Session CBE, you don't book the exam from the exam center anymore. What happened is that you will log on to your My ACCA platform, log on to your My ACCA account, and then you register the exam from there. Okay, but don't worry, that one is your later paper, not your ACCA paper. So as of now, you register your exam through the exam center. But don't worry, I will walk through you how to register, how to find the exam center, and so on. Okay, now what I want to tell you the most important is what is the difference? What makes me think you will like ODCBE so much? Okay, now I myself is an affiliate, which means I already gone through the exam, I already gone through the struggle. So don't worry, I know how you feel. Okay, I know how you feel. So anyway, what is the difference between ODCBE and also Session CBE? Okay, now number one, the arrangement. Okay, now ODCBE you liaise with the exam center. So basically, the exam time is not fixed. So when you feel like you want to have exam, you just call up the center and ask whether there is a session or not. So basically, you can see the exam anytime. If exam center A don't have the exam, then you call exam center B until you find one which suit you. But Session CBE is different. Session CBE is fixed session one, only 4 sessions a year. Okay, now another difference is answering. Now ODCBE is for lower level paper, so therefore when you do the exam, it will be very simple and straightforward. Okay, not to say you don't need to study, you still need to study. Just that when you go inside the exam, you won't feel so much stress compared to Session CBE. Why? Because ODCBE, you just have to click here, click that. The options are given. You just choose from 4 answers, choose 1, or 4 answers, choose 2, or a few, and then you choose a few. Or the most you need to do is number entry. You key in some number. Okay, so ODCBE is fairly simple. You just click here, click there, and then you key in some number, that's it. Session CBE is different. Session CBE, you are going to use word processing. Okay, word processing is something like Microsoft Words. So another words of saying, you need to squeeze your brain, come out with the answer typing like a mad person. That is Session CBE. You even need to use spreadsheet. Okay, key in some formula, get familiar with the formula, how to use the function, how to format the cell, and so on. That is Session CBE. The trouble is for later. Now, as of now, we are in the early stage, so we use ODCBE, on-demand CBE, where you just click here, click there, and key in some numbers. So, not as difficult as Session CBE. Okay, I'm not going to tell you it's so simple because anyway you still have to study before you go to exam. Okay, so anyway and anyhow, ODCBE, how you answer the question is very straightforward, very simple. Just click here, click there, and key in some number. Session CBE, which is what you're going to go through later anyway, you have to squeeze your brain juice, learn some formula, and so on. Okay, now the most thing I like about ODCBE as an ex-ACCA student is here. The first point, okay, the result release date. Let me explain to you what is the struggle. When you go to on-demand CBE, you finish the exam, click here, click there, and then you end the exam. The result pop out on the screen immediately. Okay, now it sounds very scary. It sounds like a heart attack. But trust me, it is the best. Why? Because you know the result now. When you go to Session CBE later, when you go to higher paper later, after you go to the exam hall, finish the exam, and the exam, you leave the exam hall, what happens is that you have to wait for around 1 month, 1 month plus for the result. I want to ask you, 1 month is a long time now. What do you think? Is 1 month a long period? Now it depends how you look at it. If I say I send you to a world tour, I send you to go travel, everything paid for you. Is 1 month a very long period? No, right? Not enough time to play, correct or not? Now, another way around, if I ask you, you have to wait for your result for 1 month. That will be a very, very long period. It feels like 1 year. I tell you why. Because you go through the struggle, you sit there 3 hours, look at the question, maybe you understand or maybe you don't even understand. You type in the answer, which maybe you understand, you don't even understand. You have so much of doubts, you have so much of uncertainty. Finally finish the exam, go home, and then you cannot sleep. Why? You start to wonder, what if I don't pass? What if I get 49 marks? What will happen to me? What will happen to my future? Then you start to wonder all of this, and then you cannot sleep for a few nights. So that is the struggle of Session CBE. You have to wait for the result to come out. Okay? Now, even worse, after a few weeks, after 2 weeks, or after 1 week, your mom will ask you, boy, how is your result? And then you start to remember your exam again. What if I get 49? What if I get 48? What if I never pass? What am I going to do the next step? What am I going to do with my life? You start to wonder again. Okay? Now that is not the worst part. The worst part is a few nights before the exam result release, a few nights before the result release, you sure will have a good friend somewhere which will call you up. Hey, you remember, the next week is the result coming out. Then you know your sleepless night is here again. Why I know? Because I'm the one who called people when I studied last night. Okay, so anyway, my point is just like this. When you have on-demand CBE, the result come out immediately. You finish the exam, it will pop up immediately. Although it might give you some sort of heart attack, make sure you calm down before you end the exam. But it will ease your planning very much, no? Because immediately you know what you have to do the next step. Immediately you know whether we can continue with the next paper or do we need to retake or resit and so on. But as comparison, when it goes to Session CBE, you have to wait for a month. And that is a nightmare because you will go through a lot of sleepless nights. Okay? But here, we are still on ODCBE, so be steady, okay? Now, so this is what I said just now, what makes you like it, because you can choose your exam timing as per your exam center, what they offer. If you don't like the timing, you just call up a different exam center, very flexible. And also the most important, you can see the result immediately. Okay, that is the most important thing. Okay, so very simple. How do you go through the ODCBE? Very simple. You just call up the exam center or you just visit the exam center, liaise with them on the day, timing. Once you agree, book the exam, and then you just go there and sit for the exam. Okay, so you don't have to liaise with ACCA, you don't have to register for exam from your My ACCA anyway. Just go through the exam center directly. Then after you finish the exam, no matter good news, bad news, the result will show in your portal within 72 hours. Okay, now, how do you find an exam center? Okay, now finding an exam center is very simple because if you went to ACCA Global before, basically all the information you can find there. Okay, can I ask you a question again? How many of you never went to My ACCA before? A moment, I accidentally closed it. Have you went to My ACCA Global website before? Yes. Have you looked around? Have you looked at the resources? Have you looked at the information? Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to find your exam center. So I'm going to show you my Chrome. Okay, now if you are using your laptop, you can follow as well, or you want to use your phone, also can, up to you. Okay, so this is your Chrome. You can use Mozilla, whatever, up to you. Just go to ACCA Global. Just go to ACCA Global. This is what you are going to see, isn't it? Is this the first time here? No, right? Okay. So now here, very simple, very simple. You just click on your student. Click on your student. Look at the exam. Okay. Then you will see about the notification. You will see about the exam method and so on. Now what we want to see is the center. Okay. So go to your exam center, left hand side. Go to your exam center, left hand side. One moment. Sorry. Go to left hand side your exam method. Go to your exam method here, left hand side. Okay. Then you scroll down a little bit. You will see here search for on-demand CBE center. So you click on the search for ODCBE center. Then they will give you a list of CBE center. Now, of course, there is many of them. Many of them. But you don't see one by one. We work smart. So what you do, you filter. You filter. So if you are from Malaysia, then you just filter Malaysia. Okay? Or if you are from KL, then you just search Kuala Lumpur. Then you will see the place that is near to you. Okay? Or if you are from other places, then you just key in the keyword. Then the exam center will pop up. Sorry. So from here, you will see the contact number. You will see the contact number. Then you can call them, or you can visit them. You can liaise the exam with them. Okay, you can ask them when is the next exam, what is the timing, how much is the fees, and so on. So you will be liaised with the exam center. Okay, so this is one way for you to look at your exam center, which I already give a link there. In the slide, you can just click on the link. Okay, now all very simple. You go to ACCA Global, right? You just search here on demand CBE exam center. Just like this. Then you will see here the option you get. Then you can see here the list of exam center for ODCBE. So don't have to struggle so much. Remember what is the direction, what to click, and so on. You just search from the search function here. Just key in ODCBE exam center. Then the list will come up. Then you can look at the list. Then you go through the same thing again. You can filter again. Filter based on the place. Filter based on the name also can, up to you. Then you can call up the college or call up the center to arrange the exam. Okay, so all those things, all those information, basically whatever you need, you can search from the ACCA Global. You'll be able to obtain from the ACCA Global. Okay, are we good? Okay, so this is how you can know where to take exam. Of course, some of you, your college will offer the exam. Then to save the trouble, you can just book from your own college or from your own uni, no problem. Okay, but these are some options that you can look through. Everything is in the ACCA Global website. Okay, now if you are good, if you're okay with this, then let's go back to the slideshow. Wait. Okay, so here is how you do the exam. Again, I already put on the link. You can just click on the link if you don't know how to search for it. Okay, now when you register, what will happen? Of course, like usual, whatever you register also the same. They will ask for your personal information. So like your name, your address, what paper are you studying, your email, your phone, your gender, which I believe all of you remember. Huh? So anyway, what you need to extra remember is your ACCA student registration number. Okay, because that number you will use it everywhere. You will use it when you register your exam. You will use it when you log in your My ACCA. You will use it when you attend the exam later. So that registration number, better you just remember it. In fact, although I graduate for quite some time, I still remember it until now. Okay, so please remember it for your convenience. So when you go to registration, they will ask for your information, personal information. Then you pay directly to the exam center. Okay, because this is ODCBE, so you pay directly to the exam center. But later on, when you move to a higher level paper, when you go through Session CBE, you will pay to My ACCA, pay to ACCA instead of the exam center. Here in ODCBE, you pay to exam center. Okay, now go to the next slide. Now, before your exam, now on the exam day, of course, you have to go to the exam center. That one is very obvious. That's why I didn't put it inside. So you go to the exam center, you tell the intention, and then you go into the exam center. They will assign you with random seat. Okay. Then before you start the exam, the invigilator will read you the instruction. Will tell you what is that you have to take notes, what is that you cannot do, or what is that you can do during your exam. Okay, then you are required to key in your ACCA registration number and also your date of birth inside the exam software. Okay, you'll be doing the exam in front of a computer. Again, we call it ODCBE, which means computer-based exam. Okay, so you'll be seated in front of a computer or workstation. You key in your registration number, you key in your birth of date. Again, that's why you need to register, remember your registration number. It's very useful. As long as you are still studying ACCA, as long as you are still logging into My ACCA, better if you can remember your registration number. Okay, now, so you go to the exam hall, they give you a seat, you have to key in your own registration number, key in your own date of birth. Now, don't worry. If you really don't remember your own registration number, you can ask the exam invigilator. They will have the information on that, in case you don't remember. Okay, so before you start, the invigilator will go to your place, they check your screen, they check your IC, see whether is it matching or not, is that the correct person. So please make sure when you go to exam, you bring a photographic ID. So just like your identification card. Okay, so this is for the invigilator to confirm are you the right person or not. So my personal advice, if you go to exam, don't wear a thick makeup. Later they cannot recognize you. Okay, so go on. So after they check everything, then you will be allowed to start the exam. Okay, now during the exam, this is something that you have to remember. Okay, now during the exam, the only person you can talk to is the invigilator. So no matter how close are you with your friend, please make sure you don't talk to them. Please make sure you don't have eyes contact with them. If you need someone to talk to the exam invigilator. Okay, so if you need any help, something wrong with the computer and so on, you can talk to the invigilator. They will give you hands-on assistance. Okay, now when you go to the exam, it is on the computer, correct or not? Now, computer got many things inside, but during the exam, please remember, you can only use the exam software. Okay, which means no matter how boring you are, No matter how boring you are, please remember you have to stay inside the exam software, which means you are not allowed to do this. Do you know what is this? Have you seen this before? If you don't never seen this before, then maybe we have generation gaps. So anyway, my point is, during your exam, no matter how boring you are, no matter how difficult is the test, how demotivated you are, or how sad or how happy or how excited you are, please remember, you only do your exam. You only can use your exam software. Don't switch to any other thing. Don't do this or don't do this also. You know what is this? Yeah. So in your exam, don't do any of this. No matter how boring you are. Again, no matter how boring you are, just stick to your exam software. Okay, just stick to your exam software. Now, on top of that, so you are only able to use your exam software, don't switch to any other thing. Number two, when you do your exam, please make sure you only key in whatever they ask you to key in. So if they ask you to key in number, then you key in number. If they ask you to click and choose the answer, you click and choose the answer. Okay? Don't get too dramatic and suddenly start to play piano inside the exam. Now why? Because they will capture whatever key you press during the exam. Okay? So let's say you got too boring and you decided to play piano on the keyboard, then they will capture it as well. Then they will investigate. There will be a report we call keystroke report. Then ACCA will go and investigate what is the purpose of you doing all of this during the exam. Are you trying to get some advantage or something? So therefore, in your exam, just key whatever you are needed. If you need number, then just key number. If you need to click, just click. Don't play with the keyboard. Don't play with the keyboard. Now, during your exam, they will give you some rough paper. They'll give you empty paper for you to do your working. Okay, so just empty paper for you to do your working. You will also be shown the instruction, which later I will show it to you. And later we'll go to that. Calm down, don't worry. Now, they will also give you formula sheet if you need it. Now, you are not allowed to bring any books, any notes, or any material to your exam. So very obvious, just like your SPM or whatever other exam, this is a closed book exam. So you cannot bring your study material there. You can bring it there, but you are not allowed inside the exam folder. You're not allowed inside on your desk as well. So if you need any studies, please go through, make sure you do beforehand before you go to your desk. Okay, now students are not allowed to use any dictionary or electronic translator or calculator with function to store or display text during the exam. However, you must bring your calculator here. What do I suggest? Here, your great companion since SPM. After many years, it is still here. So please make sure you bring a calculator to the exam. Now, why? Most of the paper from your MA1, FA1, MA2, FA2, FMA, FFA, and also FAB, except FAB, maybe you don't get much of a calculation. Other paper all have involved some sort of calculation. So please make sure you bring a calculator. Unless you really got so many fingers that you can use, then up to you if you don't want to bring. But my suggestion is, whatever paper it is, just bring a calculator. Okay? Even if FAB there is not much of calculation, also bring a calculator. Why? In case it come out a simple calculation, you use your finger to count wrongly, then it will be a waste of marks. So please make sure you bring this. Rely on technology. So in case it come out any question with calculation, you just use this and calculate. Okay, so bring your calculator. Now, go on now. Okay, now if you bring any phone, tablet, please make sure you are not allowed on the desk. Please make sure you don't put it on the desk. Okay, now what happened is that you have to keep it in your bag and then you have to switch it off. You have to switch it off, make sure it's not active during the exam. Okay, you are also not allowed to talk to any other person, like what we said just now. The only person you can talk to is the exam invigilator. So if you need any help, if you feel helpless, if you feel lost, you need to talk to someone, then you talk to the exam invigilator. Other than that, you are not allowed to get any assistant, not allowed to talk to any other people. Okay, no matter it's a student or any other people outside the exam hall also. So you are only allowed to communicate with the exam invigilator. Okay, now if you look at item 11, students are required to use their own calculator. So this is what I was saying just now. You bring your own calculator. Why? It feels personal. You are familiar. You know whether or not it got battery. You know whether or not it worked properly. So bring it. Okay, it gives you a lot of safety. Now, of course, if you really never bring calculator, there will be you have no choice but then to do your own rough working or use your own finger. Okay, or you can try to talk to the exam hall, see whether they got extra or not. But best you bring your own calculator. Okay, now although inside the computer there is calculator one, correct or not? But remember what we say just now. You are only allowed to use the exam software. So therefore, the calculator inside the computer you cannot use. So use your own calculator. Okay, now throughout the whole exam, you will be supervised. So there will be exam invigilator there working here and there. There will be CCTV as well. Okay, so make sure you behave well. You don't look here, look there, you don't walk here, walk there, then talk to other people. Follow the rules. Okay, now then after the exam, then it is the heart attack moment. The result will show right in front of you. No matter how many times you do the exam, it will still feel the same heart attack one. You will click like this because you don't dare to see. Last time I was like this, I'm not sure about you. So once you complete the exam, the result will show on the screen. Whether or not it is successful or unsuccessful. So layman speaking means whether or not it's a pass or fail. Okay, so after you complete the result, the admin of the exam center, there will be a person in charge from the exam center that will print the result for you. Okay, and then again within 72 hours, you can check it inside your My ACCA portal. Okay, just like that. Okay, so this is just a walkthrough of what will happen during the exam, and before, during, and after the exam. Okay, now then we want to look at the question type. What kind of question you will see inside the exam? Now, very simple. All of this is very simple. Just remember, either you click here and there, or you key in the number. Okay, however, they analyze into a few choices. Okay, now number one is multiple choice. Multiple choice is the classic one. A, B, C, D, and then you choose one. Okay, number two is multiple response. Multiple response is just a little bit more fancy. You choose more than one. Example, they give you A, B, C, D. They ask you to choose two. That is multiple response. Okay, now multiple response matching means there is two different factors. Later I will show you a sample up, but anyway, what you need to do is still the same. You just click on the correct answer. Okay, now number entry is as what we said just now. You need to key in the number. Okay, so only key in the number, don't key in any alphabetic inside. So this is some sample. This is multiple choice. So out of the four, you choose one. Okay, this is multiple response, which means out of the four, they already specified to you, you choose two. Okay, then you have multiple response matching, which means out of the two factors, you need to choose the correct answer. So you need to choose for process F, is that abnormal loss or abnormal gain? You need to choose for process G, is that abnormal loss or abnormal gain? Okay, so whatever it is, no matter multiple choice, multiple response, or multiple response matching, just remember Just click the correct answer according to the instruction. Okay, or the last type of question you will see is number entry. Okay, so they even key in the dollar sign for you. You just put in the number, your answer will be just a number. Okay, now don't key in anything extra because the whole ODCBE is marked by computer one. It's automatically marked one. So they must be able to detect your answer, so don't get creative. Okay, now some of the paper, they will have a section B, which is what we call multiple task question. Now, multiple task is very similar like just now, just that they got additional 2 types of question. Okay, so either again multiple choice, out of the many options you choose one. Multiple response, out of the many options you choose more than one. Can be asking you to choose 2, can be asking you to choose 3 or choose 4, depending on the requirement. Okay, multiple response matching, asking you to choose based on 2 different factors. Number entry, asking you to key in. Now here is something new. We call it gap fill. Sounds very fancy, correct or not? Now it is not fancy. Gap fill is just fill in the blank. You familiar with fill in the blank? Okay, so they give you a full sentence and then they will blank out one space that you have to fill in. Okay, simple. Now, good news to you. You don't have to type in the answer. They'll give you some option. So if there is a gap fill, you can click and then you can choose the answer. Later I will show to you. Or the last type of question is hotspot. Hotspot means they show you the question in the graphic, in the picture. So based on the instruction, you just click on the area of the picture. Okay, again, I show you the sample. So multiple choice, multiple response. This is multiple response. Out of so many options, you are going to choose 4. Just read the requirement and select 4 factors. Okay. This is gap fill, which means fill in the blank. You see, in the requirement, fraud and error handling cash will prevented true. Then there is a gaps. So this is the gap fill. You have to fill in the blank. However, you see here there is an arrow, small arrow at the side. So this arrow you can click down, and then we will drop down this. You just choose the correct answer. So simple, correct? So everything is given option except the number entry. Okay, so this is gap fill. You just drop down the list and then you fill in the blank just like that. Then you have hotspot where they show you something like a picture. So based on what they say, you just click on the area of the picture. So example, they say choose 4 words. So you just click on the 4 words. Then that's it. Simple, right? Straightforward. Okay. Now, what kind of question do you have in the exam? Depends on what paper is that. Okay, now the first level paper, which is your FA1 and MA1, sorry, FA1 and MA1, the most earliest paper is very straightforward. They just give you 50 questions, all of it is multiple choice, which means all of it, you just, based on the option, you choose one, the one is multiple choice. Then going up the level a little bit, go to your FA2 and MA2, then you start to have other choices of objective question. You start to have multiple choice, out of few you choose one, start to have multiple response, out of few you choose more than one, start to have multiple response matching and number entry as per what we explained just now. Then you go even further higher level paper, only you get to have multiple task question. Section B, multiple tasks, which mean the gap fill and hotspot, the gap fill and hotspot. Okay, now go on. So all this is your exam format. We are going to skip this. So how do you know what is your exam format? You can know that from the ACCA Global as well. No? So depends on what paper you're doing. Don't confuse yourself. If you are doing FAB, then just look at FAB. If you are doing FA1, then just look at FA1. Don't go and look at all the different exam format. You only look at it when you need to use it. Okay? So anyway, the most important is here. I want to walk through you the exam software features. What are you going to see in the exam? Okay? So back to the story just now. you register your exam, you go to the exam hall, they sit you down, they check your identity, see whether you are the same person or not. Then you get to start your exam. So once you start your exam, you will be able to see some exam features. Okay, now the first thing first is instruction reading. So once you sit down, you will see this screen. Once you start the exam, you will see this screen. So these are some instructions for you to read before you go in the exam. Now I want to tell you one thing. As a student, I don't recommend you to read it during your exam. Why? Because are you nervous during your exam day? What do you think? Will you be nervous during your exam day? How will you feel during your exam day? You'll be very nervous, correct or not? So when you are nervous, do you want to read many things? We don't want, correct or not? So therefore, you don't keep the instruction until the exam day only you read. Why? Because that time your brain is so full, so many knowledge inside, correct or not? So many of the don't know, MA or FA knowledge inside. So we don't want to mess with the things inside. I scared after start the exam it become empty, so we cannot let that happen. So therefore, please make sure the instruction you read before you go to the exam. So you get familiar with the instruction first, you feel safe first, then only you go to the exam. Okay, so the instruction later we'll read together. So anyway, you'll be given 3 pages of instruction. You just click finish and then click next, then you will be able to start the exam. You will see a screen like this. Start exam. Okay, so before you click start, please make sure you are ready. Take a deep breath if you need. Make sure you are ready. Then you just start the exam. Now why? Because once you start the exam, then it will be time wasting for you to take a deep breath by that. Because once you start, they will start to count down the first thing. So the first thing you realize is a countdown timer on top. No? You see here time remaining 1.58.05. This is a countdown timer. So once you click start, then very fast it will be 159.59. Then 58, 57, 56, 55, 54. It's like a time bomb. No? Okay, and this time bomb is 2 hours for your exam. Okay, now why is this very important is because once the time remaining reach 0.0000, then no matter you are ready or not, no matter you finish your exam or not, either the exam is done or you are done just like that, because it will end automatically. Okay, so please make sure you pay attention to the timer, pay attention to the time remaining. Okay, so once you start the exam, the countdown will start. And once it reaches 0.0000, either you finish the exam or the exam finish you, either way. Okay, so first thing first, you realize it's a countdown timer. Okay, now second is some features. Now I'm going to go through the features with you a little bit by little bit. And then later after the break, we will try on in the ACCA Global website. Okay, so start from the simple one. There will be navigation tools for you to go forward or backward. So very simple. You want to go to the next question, then you click next. You want to go to the last question, then you click last. Okay, as forward as that. Now, don't worry. ACCA also worry for your exam. So therefore, if you want to move from question 1 to question 2, they will even remind you, you haven't filled out the question. You have partially attempted. You haven't finished the question. Are you sure you want to move forward or not? So even ACCA more worried than you. Even ACCA also worry you never finish the question, you see. Okay, so when you move from question 1 to question 2, if you haven't answered, or if you haven't fully answered, they will pop out a notification. Something like this, no? They will pop out a notification to tell you, are you sure you want to go on? Okay, so my advice to you, if you haven't finished, then don't go on. At least pick an answer first, then only go on. So in case you really got no enough time to come back, then at least you already choose something. Okay, so that is my advice to you. Anyhow, just choose an answer first, then only go on. Okay, now if you need to go from question 1 to question 50, it will be very stupid for you to click next for 49 times, isn't it? So therefore, in the exam, there will be a exam progress detail panel. So on the top of your exam, there will be an arrow facing down, something like this. Okay, so you click the down, then they will show you a list of questions, something like this. Macam ini. Okay, something like this. So you can choose between different questions. So if you want to go from question 1 to question 35, you just click on question 35. You don't have to click next for 34 times. Not to say cannot, but as a senior, I tell you don't do that. Okay, so just click on your exam panel. You see this thing pop out, and then you click the question that you want to go. Don't click next one by one. It will be not efficient. Okay, so if you want to go 35, then just go 35. Click 35. Okay, now what is this exam progress panel for? This is to give you an overall view of your exam. What you have completed. So if it is completed, it will show in the orange color. Is it orange? Yeah, it will show in the orange color. If it is not done, then it will be blank, the white one. If you already flagged, then they will show a flag here also. So the exam progress panel is to show you the status of your answer. To show you the status of your exam. How many is it done? How many is still empty? How many you already bookmarked? Okay, so it will give you an overall view, and you also can use it to go between the question. If you want to go from question 1 to 35, question 1 to 38, 7 to 33, and so on. Again, as a senior, I sincerely advise you, don't click next for 30 something times. Just use this panel. Save some time. Okay, now, countdown, we already talked about that before. Now there is a flag feature. Now in your exam software, there will be a flag like this, macam ini. Okay, now what is this for? This is for you to bookmark. Okay, now I tell you how to use as a student. Now what happens is, if you have a question that you are not sure the answer or you don't know how to do, please remember, you don't give out your whole exam just because of one question. Please learn to move on. So what happens is that if you face a difficulty, if you face an obstacle, please just bookmark it, just flag it. Put a little flag there. Click on this button, the top one. Okay, then you move on to the next question. Now again, you bookmark first, you randomly choose an answer, then you go to the next question. Why? So later when you finish all the other questions, you can come back to this question because you already flagged it. So you can come back to the question that you flagged and then you revisit again, you review again. Okay, so that is what is, that is the function of flag. This is for you to come back later. Okay, this is for you to revisit later. Or this is for you to struggle again later. Okay, so if you face any difficulty, don't waste all your time on one question. Because anyway, one question only 2 marks. So if you don't know, just move on. Later only come back to it. Okay, now once you come back to it, you are okay, you think the answer is okay, then you can remove the flag. So you just click the same button again, then you will be able to remove the flag. Okay, don't worry, later we'll try it together. Now, on the exam, at the bottom of the software also, there will be a question mark. Now, question mark is for you to read the instruction again. Again, I know your feeling. Your exam, very nervous, correct or not? A lot of knowledge inside the brain, correct or not? So please don't read the instruction inside the question. During the exam. You get familiar with it before you go to the exam. Okay, unless you really got too nervous and then you forgot about it, then you can click on it and read again. Okay, but my advice to you, finish all of this preparation before you go to the exam. Read the instruction first. Okay, so even during the exam, you can reread the instruction again. Now, on top of your exam software, there will be a mark, which means they will show you either you get 0 marks for this question, either you get 2 marks for this question. So if you choose the correct answer, then they will show you 2 of 2 marks. If you choose the wrong answer, they will show you 0 of 2 marks. Do you like this feature? Do you like the feature? I don't know about you, but I love it so much. Why? Because when you are doing it, you know the answer straight away. Okay, however, this is not available inside your exam. This is only inside the specimen exam. It's for you to try out the question. In your actual exam, whether or not you choose the correct answer, they won't tell you. How do you know whether you choose the correct answer? Very simple. When you end the exam, then you know. Okay, so when you end the exam, you see successful or unsuccessful, then you know whether you could earn the marks or not. But during the exam, they won't give you things like this. They won't show you how many marks you earn. So this function is only for specimen exam. It's only for your practice. Okay, later I'll show you the specimen exam. Now, what is the difference between objective question and multiple task question? Section A and section B. Now, objective question, no partial marks is given. No partial marks is given means what? Example, if they ask you to answer 4 options, okay? Now, if you see the answer I choose all 4 correctly, then you get 2 marks. Look at the top here. That is, if you choose all correctly, okay? However, if you look at the next page, I only change one of the answer. The last one changed from first option to second option. I only change one of the answer, which means the balance 3 is still correct. Anyway, you get 0 marks. So this is objective question. Either you get 0 or you get 2. There is no half mark. There is no 1 mark. There is no 1.5 mark. Okay, that would be your objective question. So either you choose all correct, then you get full mark, or you choose no matter how many wrong, you still get 0 marks. That is objective question. Now the other type of question is this, multiple task question. Okay, now multiple task question, what is the difference? You can have partial marks. Okay, so example, you look at this, look at task 1. Now you see here, I choose all of the 4 correctly. So therefore, I get a full 2 marks. Okay, I get a full 2 marks. But if I change one of them, you see the last one, FW Taylor, I change one of it from C to become A. So although it is wrong, but the balance still got marks. So it is 1.5 out of 2 marks. Okay, it is 1.5 out of 2 marks. So another words of saying, you can earn partial marks. So that is your multiple task question. That is the difference between objective test and also multiple task question. Okay, one got partial marks, one doesn't have partial marks. Now anyway, as a student, as an ex-student, I want to tell you, my personal opinion, no matter got partial mark, no partial mark, anyway, what you need to do is make sure you choose the correct answer. Please don't have a thinking like this, because that one got no partial marks, so I do, simply do. Because this one got partial marks, then you do very carefully. Please don't have that kind of thinking. No matter partial marks, no partial marks, please make sure you do carefully. Okay? Just like that. So that is the difference between objective question and also multiple task question. Now, there is some features that is only available inside your multiple task question, which is an add and minus. Okay. Now, what is this? This is for you to expand or keep or hide the element. So example like this. This is your requirement. Okay. Now, why no question, no story? Because it is hidden. So what do? You click on the add button, you click on the plus button, then you will see the details like this. You will see the storyline. Okay, so if you want to hide it back, you just click the minus, then you will hide it back. Okay, now then you will have another function here. This is a very important key. What is this? This is the exit key. You go out. So if you want to end the exam earlier, you can click on this button. Okay, but please make sure you think carefully after you end, after you see your result. Of course, you cannot go back and change your answer one. So there will be a button for you to end the exam earlier if you want to. So if you click on this button, as what I said just now, ACCA is more worried than you. They will even remind you, are you sure you want to quit or not? Later I'll show to you on the later slide. So they will remind you, are you sure you want to quit? If you are sure, then you just exit. Then the result will come out immediately. So this is the exam exit button. So you click on it, no matter how many minutes left, no matter you got half hour, 1 hour, or 5 minutes, you click on this, then the exam will end immediately. Okay, so like what I said just now, either you finish the exam or the exam finish you. Okay, so this is the exam button for you to reach, for you to end the exam earlier. Okay, now of course in your exam there will be other functions like showing you which section is that, which question is that, which paper you are doing. Please make sure you see this clearly. Make sure you are sitting for the right exam. Okay, don't finish the whole thing, only you realize you sit the wrong thing. So make sure you sit for the right exam. Okay, now there is another important function which looks like this at the bottom of the exam software as well. Later I'll demonstrate to you now. Now this is to show you the formula you needed for your exam. Okay, now this is very important because for your MA paper, Management Accounting paper, you will need some formula. You will need to use the present value table or annuity table. All of that you can find at this button. Later I will show you also, don't worry. Later we'll go through together. Okay, so this is the overall view of the exam. This is how the exam software looks like. So it carries all the functions we said just now, like paper name, question number, how many marks you earn, the countdown timer, the exam progress panel, the exit button you see here, the top right, this one. The exit button, the answer that you can choose, the reference, the next button, and the previous button. Okay, now I want to test you. See how sharp you are. Why we don't have the previous button? Take a guess. Why we don't have a previous button? Yeah, correct. Because it's question 1. There is no question 0, 1 now. And of course, you cannot previous and go to before you start the exam. Cannot one. So question 1 is your first screen after you start the exam. That's why no previous button. Okay, just like that. Okay, so how you do the answer, how you choose the answer, how you answer the exam. You are going to, again, no matter what question is that, you have to choose the correct option. So if they ask you to choose 1, then you just choose 1. If they ask you to choose 2, then you just choose 2. If they ask you to click, then you just click. Or they ask you to key number, then you just key number. Okay, now don't worry. After you choose the answer, you go to the next question, the answer will be saved automatically. So later when you go back to question 1, the answer is there. You don't have to press any save button. They save automatically. Okay, so in case you change your mind, you feel like it's not the correct answer, you have an instinct and so on, then you can always go back to the previous question. You can change the answer. So as long as before you end the exam, anything you can still change. But after you end the exam, then all of this you don't have to think already. Okay, so as long as it is still during the exam, you can still change your answer. Okay, so you can move here and there through the next and previous button. You can also use it through the exam panel, exam progress panel. So just choose the question you want and then you can change the answer anytime, as long as before your exam finish. Okay, so that is your answering. So example, out of the 4 you choose 1. Example, out of the 4 you choose the 2 area. Just read the instruction carefully. Okay, later we will see it together. Or example, you just key in the number. So depends on what question type is that. Now then we want to talk about something important. How do you exceed the exam? Okay, why I say it's important is because I want you to know before you go to exam and before it surprises you. There is two ways to end your exam. Okay, the first way is the countdown timer. So you remember just now, there is 1:59, 59. That one is the countdown timer. So the time will go backward until it reach 00000. Then again, when it reach 00000, no matter you finish or not, it will automatically end. So please make sure you keep an eye on the timer. Okay, please make sure you keep an eye on the timer. Now why? If worst case, you really cannot finish, at least you can go back and choose some answer for the empty question. Okay, because anyway they give you options, so just choose the one that you think will be the answer. If you really are not sure, at least there's something there. Who knows, maybe you get correctly. Okay, so keep an eye on the timer. Before it becomes 00000, make sure you fill up all the answer. Okay, so that is one way to exit the exam. So it will end automatically once you reach 00000 again. Doesn't matter the exam finish you or you finish the exam, it will still end anyway. Then the result will pop out immediately. Not immediately, maybe after a few seconds. Then it will pop out. Okay, or the other way around, if you finish earlier, then you can manually click at the button just now, the button that I showed you just now, at the top right of the screen. Okay, so example, you only spend 30 minutes, 1 hour, you finish, you double check, you think everything is okay, then you can exit. Okay, depends on how close you are with your friend. Why? Because based on my experience, if you leave very early, your friend will panic. Okay, so that is just what you have to know. So either you end automatically or you manually click the button to end. Okay, so this is how it looks when you end automatically. When you got no option, no other option, they will just inform you it has expired. The exam is now finished. Okay, so again, either the exam finish you or you finish the exam, then you just click OK, then the result will come out straight away. This is automatically one. Okay, or other option, you can click on the exit button on the top right. You see there, top right, the black button. Now, once you click again, even ACCA more worried than you. They will remind you again, are you sure you want to are you sure you want to quit? But there is incomplete question or there is flat question. Are you sure you still want to quit? Okay, so they will send you a reminder. They will pop out and ask you, are you sure you want to quit without completing everything? Because once you quit, you cannot turn back anymore. So if you are sure, then you just click yes. Now, as your senior again, please don't leave it like this. If you have incomplete question, if you have flat question, please go and settle it first before you quit the exam. Okay, so just like that, we are going to stop here for a while. Now we have a 10 minutes break. After the break, we will try out the exam software inside in the ACCA Global website. So if you need to get the device, please go and get the device now, and I will see you after 10 minutes at 12:15. Okay, so I see you after the break. Let's continue. Now, Miss Fitri Nurul, you asked about the exemption, right? What about the exemption you want to ask? Which part about the exemption you want to ask? Can you be more specific? Okay, now let's go on. Let's go on. Can you look at go to your browser? One moment. Let me open mine. Okay, so go to our favorite website, your ACCA Global. It will looks like this. Are we getting the same? When we are supposed to get the same, but the internet may be a little bit slow. Okay, now go to student, go to study support resources. Then from here, you see three options. Now you choose the one that you are doing now. So I assume you're in FIA, you choose foundation level. Choose foundation level. So from here, you choose the paper that you are doing. Okay. For our experiment purpose, we are going to choose FMA. Choose FMA. So you choose FMA. Wait, I already choose, but the internet looks like a little bit slow. Can you reach here? Are we on the same page? So look at FMA. This is for testing purpose. So it doesn't matter what exam you're doing. We are just going to test around the exam software. Now, as a student, please make sure you are very familiar with the whole page. Okay, so if you are doing FA1 or MA1, just make sure you are very familiar with the whole page. Why? Because there is many resources here. There is many meaningful information here that you can use. Okay, later on we talk about the resources. Can you click on your specimen exam? Just scroll down and then you see a specimen exam. Click on the specimen exam, please. Click on the specimen exam at the bottom there. Okay, then you will be seeing something like this, correct? Just click inside. click inside the specimen exam. You will be seeing something like this. Okay, then you just choose the full exam for FMA. Choose the full exam for FMA, click inside. Until you get to see the exam screen. Here, like this. Can you reach here? Are we looking at the same thing? Can you find the exam? Okay, so if you can, just click next, just click next. Now here is the instruction reading I was saying just now. So this instruction reading, please make sure you read before you go to exam. When you practice at home, you get familiarized first before you go for your exam. Okay, so now you can have 1 to 2 minutes, you can read through the instruction. Read through the instruction, then you just click next. Okay, so once you're done, you just click next and read again, click next until we are going to start the exam. Then we all start together. We finish the instruction first. Okay, so the instruction is the same, but however, if you're doing, let's say, FA1 exam, then you can go and try the specimen exam of FA1 before you go to the exam. Okay, it's just like if you want to go to a singing competition, The Voice. Make sure you practice at home before you go and sing on the stage. Exam is the same. Make sure you practice at home first before you go to the exam hall. Okay, so once you finish reading the instruction, we are going to start the exam. Are you ready? Are you ready to do this? If you are ready, please say inside the chat box, then we start together. We must have the team spirit. Everyone ready? Okay, let's start the exam. So click start together. Now, once you see, click in the start, then the first thing you see, please look at the top. You see there is a timer. It goes very fast. It goes without hesitating. It goes, doesn't matter if you are sad or happy when you see the question. It still count down. You see very fast, 41, 40, 39, and so on. So please make sure you keep track on this. No? Make sure you keep track on this. Do your time management. So the first thing you see is the countdown. Okay, but in your exam, you just have to watch it out loud, but don't keep staring at it. Please do your question properly. Okay, so next to your countdown, you can try to experiment. Next to your countdown is your exam progress detail. So you can click the down button, then you will see the whole exam question. So we have 35 questions for section A, 3 questions for section B. Everything you can see here. Okay, now everything here is empty because we haven't do anything, correct or not? However, you see here, number 1 is bold. Number 1 is bold is because we are now in number 1. So therefore, they bold it to show us. No? Okay, now let's try out. You just choose a random answer. Let's say, oh, so good luck. Let's say you choose functional benchmarking and then I got correct 2 out of 2 marks. So you see here at the top here, you got 2 out of 2 marks. This is only for your specimen exam, which means now you will see this function, but when you go to the exam later, they won't tell you whether you got correct or not. No? When will they tell you? When you finish your exam, they will tell you. Okay? So this 2 out of 2 marks is only for your specimen. If you choose the wrong answer, it will be 0 out of 2, just like that. You can experiment around now. Okay, just click around. Okay, then once you finish, you click the exam progress detail again. Ta-da! It becomes orange color. Okay, it becomes orange color. So those that is not complete, it will be white color. Those that is complete, it will be orange color. Okay. Now then, if you look at the bottom, you have from the left hand side, you have a reference. You click the reference. Here is the formula sheet. So these are some formula that you may or may not use in your exam. Depends on the syllabus, depends on what you learn in the class. So these are some items that you may see, you may use in your exam. So they give you the formula sheet. They also give you the annuity table. They also give you the present value table. So if you need to use it, just click the reference and use it again. If you need to use it, if you no need to use it, just leave it there. Okay, so this will be your reference. Then next to the reference, you have a help button, correct? So if you click on the help button, it is an instruction again. If you go read the instruction just now, this is the same as just now. So this is in case you really got too nervous, your brain is blank, you forgot how to use the feature, then you can read the game. But usually we are not going to read it during the exam. Use the exam time to finish the question. Don't waste it on instruction reading. Okay, so that is the reference, that is the help. Now you look at the right hand side, you can click the next button. Then we go to question 2. Okay, then again, you choose the answer. Okay, you choose the answer. Now, if you choose the answer again, you look at your exam progress panel, it will be orange color now because you completed. Okay, but they won't tell you whether you're correct or wrong. It will just be shown as completed. Okay, so in your exam, if you're not sure which one you haven't do, you just open this exam panel, see which one is empty, then you go to redo it. Okay, now as what we say just now, if you are not sure the answer, you don't know whether it is 1, 2, 3 or 4, you are not very sure, so you think you don't want to headache for this anymore, you want to move on. Now if you want to move on, please remember my advice to you, please choose the answer first. In case later you got no time to come back, at least you already choose an answer. So you just choose the answer that you think is most likely, and then you flag, click at the bottom here, the flag button, and then you move on. Just like that. Okay, why we want to flag? Because if you open your exam panel, here they will show you a flag. So before you finish the exam, just open the panel, see which one got flagged, and then you go back to the question and try again. Okay, so you can try the flag function, you can try to use the flag. Okay, and if you are done, you don't want to check anymore, then you can just remove the flag. You just click the same flag again. And then you are clean, no more flag. Okay, so click one time is to put the flag. Click the second time is to remove the flag, just like that. Okay. Now then we go to question 3. Now question 3 is a multiple response matching, correct or not? You need to choose between 2 factors. Okay, you need to choose whether F is abnormal loss or abnormal gain. Now let's try it out like this. Let's say You only choose for F. You forgot to choose for G. You got too nervous. You didn't realize. Then what happened is that if you only choose for F, you never choose for G, you can try to click next. Then they will pop out a notification. They will tell you you only have partially attempted the question. So they will remind you you haven't finished your question. So as I told you, ACCA is also very nervous for your exam. They want to make sure you pass. So they give you a lot of reminder. Okay, so they will even remind you you haven't finished your question. Okay, so my advice to you, you stay on the question, no matter you are sure or not sure, you choose the answer first. And if you are not sure, you flag it, then later only come back to it. Okay, then you go to the next question until finish. Okay, so this is a question of number entry. Okay, now are we in the same question? Can you try to key in? Okay, now this is number entry question, correct or not? Which means they expect you to key in number. So if you key 1, 2, 3, no problem. But you try to key in ABC. Try. Does it work? It doesn't work, isn't it? So that's why we call it number entry question. You can only key in number. So it doesn't matter how many figure you want to key in, but you cannot key in alphabet. Okay, now even if you want to key in the separator, also cannot. Separator means what? Separator means the comma between the thousands. Example, 10,000, you put a comma there, right? So that is a separator. That one also you cannot key in one. So you can only key in number or negative or decimal or altogether, up to you. So depends on the answer. Okay, just like that. So you are not allowed to key in alphabet. Again, alphabet cannot. Comma also cannot. Okay, so you can try yourself. You can try to key in, see whether you get the same thing or not. Okay. Now, then we go to the next question. Now, next question, nothing special. Just choose any of the answer. Then we click next. Okay. Now, let's say you want to finish your exam earlier. Then what happened? On the right corner, on top, you got the exit button, correct or not? You can click on that. So even though we are only at question 6, we still got many more, correct or not? But you can exit earlier. So you can click on the exit that will remind you, you still got 33 questions you haven't do. You still got 1 question that is flagged. Are you sure you want to quit? Now again, as your senior, I want to tell you, don't leave it like this. So if you got incomplete question, please make sure you go incomplete before you quit. If you got flagged question, please make sure you go and revisit before you quit. Utilize the balance time. Okay, so this is if you still got time. You exit, then only they will remind you. If in case the countdown timer reach 00000, then they won't remind you anymore. No matter how many questions left, they won't tell you anymore. They will just inform you the exam has ended. Then you will see the pop-up screen. Okay. Now let's answer a few more questions. Just key in whatever you want. Choose whatever you want. Just like that. Okay, now then we try to exit the exam. Are you ready for the result? Okay, now if you are ready for the result, then you just click yes. Then, tada, they will tell you your result is successful or unsuccessful. So they will pop in your screen. Okay, so in your actual exam also the same one. It will be a computerized marking. They will take a few seconds to compare your answer with their computer answer to see whether you got correct or not. Then in a few seconds, they will pop out the result straight away. Okay, so after you see your result, no matter what is the feeling, no matter it's good news or bad news, hard attack or not, then it is done. You cannot go back and change anymore. Okay, then you can go ahead, ask the college to give you the certificate, or give you the result, print the result for you. Okay, print the result for you. Just like that. Okay, now let's go back to the slide. If you are not done, then you finish first and then you end the exam first. Try to see what do you feel when you see the result. What do you see? What do you feel when you see a 4%? How is your mood? If you see a 4% or 40%, it's the same kind of mood. So if you don't want this kind of mood in your exam, please make sure you study well. Don't leave it 4% or 40%. Make sure you pass. Study well before you go to exam. Okay. Now, once you reach the result screen, then we want to go back to the slide already. We want to talk about some answering technique. Okay, small issue to deal with. Okay. Now, number one, time management. This is very important. Why? Because for all your ACCA exam, a lot of students cannot finish their question. A lot of students never do time management accordingly. Back when I was studying, my classmate also the same. My warrior in the exam also the same. My teammate, my student also the same. They have not enough time to finish the exam. There is even student who leave out the whole question blank just like that because of time management. Okay, now time management very simple. You have a 2 hours exam, 100 marks. So therefore, you can estimate roughly 1 mark is for 1.2 minutes. So if you open up the question, it's a 1 mark question, then you don't spend more than 1 minute. If you open up the question, it is 2 marks question, then you estimate spend 2 minutes. Don't overkill on one question. Don't spend 20 minutes on one question. Because one question is only 2 marks, right? Why would you want to give up the 2 marks why would you want to give up the balance just for the 2 marks? So if you are sure, then just put in the answer. If you are unsure, don't waste the time. Just flag and then you move on. Maybe when you do more questions, you get inspiration to come back, you wouldn't know. So therefore, do your time management. Go and find out this question, how long we can spend. So estimately, you just take it as 1.2 minutes. So estimately 1 minute for 1 mark question. Estimately 2 minutes for 2 marks question. What about the extra 0.2? You can use it for checking. Okay, you can use it for checking. So do your time management. Make sure you don't overspend the time on one question. Don't kill the balance marks just for the 2 marks. Okay, now rounding difference. Now the computer is going to accept because that's what we said just now, it is marked by computer. So when they do the marking automatically, they will accept a range of answer. Okay, if there is rounding difference. So example, if they ask you to calculate the present value of $500 at the end of each of the next 4 years at the interest rate of 10%. So if they ask you to do something like this, you need to discount the cash flow. I'm not sure you learned already or not. So if you learned already, you can try out yourself. If you haven't learned, then no problem. I just want to show you how different method can arise to different answer. Okay, I just want to show you that. So if you already learned, you can try out the question yourself. If you haven't learned, no problem. Okay, now I am going to try out for you. So you can go to the next slide. So there is 3 ways to find out the answer. Either you use the present value table, you use the annuity table, or you use the formula. So for this question, there is 3 ways of answering. So because of the rounding difference, if you use 3 different methods, the answer will be different. If you use option A, the answer will be different. If you use option B, the answer will be different. If you use option C, the answer will be different. So therefore, we want to see how different can it be. Now again, if you already learned, then you can try do yourself. If you haven't learned, then you just follow. I just want to show you the difference in answer. Wait. Okay, so number 1 way you can calculate using the present value table. So example, we use 500,000 times 0.909 plus 0.826 plus 0.751 plus 0.681. This is one method of calculating the answer. Okay, but don't worry, you will learn it later when you go to the specific paper, when you go to MA. Okay, now can you do me a favor? Can you do me a small favor? You take out this, your beloved calculator. You press the answer for me, please. See whether you know how to operate it well. Press the answer, please. Okay, or alternatively, you can also find out the answer by taking 500,000 times 3.170. You also press the calculator. Or alternatively, you can find the answer by implementing the formula. This one is a little bit fancy, so you also press the calculator. Just like this. Okay, so you press the calculator, see what answer you get. See whether you can key in the formula correctly or not. So how much do you get for option 1? Any answer? Please don't use finger and calculate. I cannot wait for you to use finger and calculate. What is the answer you get? Are you sure? Oh, no wonder. Sorry, I got a typo. Can you calculate again? My bad, my bad. I typed it wrongly. What is your answer now? Yeah. So your answer would be 1,584,500. What about the second one? Second one is correct, 1,585,000. What about the last one? This is where you get all kind of creative answer. So you click the last one and see what you get. Don't use finger, use the calculator. Okay. What about others? Are you struggling with the calculator? Okay. Some more? Okay, correct. So your answer would end up 1584933. Round it off. Okay. So now my point here is like this. For you to complete the answer, there is three ways. You can use the first method, option 1. You can use the option 2. You can use option 3. So there is different method for you to complete the answer. So therefore, if you use different method, your answer also will end up differently. Okay. So therefore, the computer, they will accept the answer within the range, which means, example, if there is 3 options like this, then they will accept any answer between 1,584,500 to 1,585,000. So any answer in between will be correct. So it doesn't matter your rounding difference. They will accept a range of answer, not just one answer, because there is different method of answering. Okay, so just like that. If you cannot get the answer for option 3, please practice your calculator again. Okay, now if you're good, then we go back to the slide. Are you still using it? No, then we go back to the slide. Okay, so rounding difference, don't have to worry. They will accept a range of answer. Measuring unit, don't have to worry, because they will put the unit for you. One example like this. They will specify to you whether they want dollar, they want kg, they want percentage. So you don't have to key in the dollar, you don't have to key in the kg, you don't have to key in the percentage. Okay, as what you already experiment just now, they only allow you to key in figure number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. Okay, so no comma, no alphabet, no dollar, no percentage as well. Just key in the absolute number. Okay, so please make sure you pay attention. What unit is that? Because if it is percentage, it is different from decimal. 100% equals to 1. Okay, 20% equals to 0.2. So make sure you pay attention to it. Okay, or if they tell you to key in dollar or in thousands, also different. So make sure you pay attention to the measuring unit, but you don't have to key in. Okay, you don't have to key in. Now, go next. Do you have to use separator or not? Do you have to use comma or not? You do not have to. As what we already experiment just now, you are not allowed to even key in. You key in, they will remove. You key in, they will remove. So don't worry if you don't remember. No problem. You can try to key in anyway, they are going to remove. Okay, so use of separator is unnecessary. Okay, now the next one, rounding difference. Okay, how do you round? Now usually how many decimal they want, they will specify in the question one. So the rounding requirement, they will tell you in the example, they ask you to round to the nearest dollar, ask you to round to the 2 decimal place, they will specify. Okay, so therefore you have to round accordingly, round to the nearest one. Okay, it's just the same as what we learned in the secondary or primary or secondary school. If it is 1.5, then become 2. If it is 1.3, then become 1. Just as per what we learned last time. Use the same concept. Okay. Now, negative figure sign, can you use or not? As what we already experiment just now as well. Negative we can use, but you don't simply use. If it is positive, you put as negative, then it will be wrong. Okay, so make sure you only use it when necessary. Example, you calculated, the answer is a loss. Then you put a negative sign, no problem. Okay, but don't use it when it is not necessary. Okay, so this is example. When you do variance, you key in negative and so on. Now, then we want to talk about how do you prepare for your exam. Okay, now the first thing, very important, make sure you know what are you heading for. Make sure you know what are you doing. So make sure you are familiarized with the syllabus. what cover in the topic, how many areas is that. Now, how do you know the syllabus? You can anytime go back to the ACCA Global. Go back to the ACCA Global, look at the student support, study support resources. There you will find the syllabus guide. Okay, so before you go to the exam, make sure you know what is the syllabus. Okay, now there is another usage of the syllabus guide, very useful one. Okay, you can use it as a checklist. So example, there is 5 major areas of syllabus. You can check whether you are familiar with all the 5 before you go into the exam. Okay, so please make sure you know the syllabus before you go to the exam. Okay, now second, please make sure you utilize the resources by ACCA Global. Okay, now remember just now I already showed you back at the ACCA Global, there is study support resources. Under the FMA, there is a whole list. There is specimen exam, practice exam, syllabus guide, all the video and so on. Please make sure you go through all of them because they are very useful for your exam. They will show you what you're going to face in the exam. They even provide you some technical article what you're going to read in the exam. Okay, now my point of view, you pay money, right? You pay subscription fees, right? So utilize it well, make sure it's worth the money, okay? So go to the website, use everything they have. Okay, now, before you go to the exam, of course, equip yourself with knowledge. So if you go to class, then you can get the class notes, or if you have textbook also can. If you self-study, then best if you get the textbook. Okay, BPP textbook, Kaplan textbook, doesn't matter. Get a textbook, equip yourself with knowledge, then only go to the exam. Okay, simple rules. If you want to practice a full question. Practice the writing full question instead of only MCQ. Because what happened is that MCQ only give you a partial view of the question. So if you want to practice the full question, you get the full view. Okay. However, the most important is here. Please make sure before you go to the exam, you already try out how does it feels like. So just like what we did last time, just like what we did just now, you go to ACCA Global, choose the paper that you are doing, you try the specimen exam. Because if you try the specimen exam, you will know how it feels like in the exam hall. You will know what kind of function you are going to use. You will know whether or not 2 hours is sufficient for you. Do you need to practice more to do faster or not? You will know how do they actually ask the question, what type of question will be coming up. So before you go to the exam, make sure you already try out now. Please don't make your exam the first time you try out question. Exam is exam is not a practice platform. You practice before you go to the exam. Okay, now how to pass? There is some tips. There is some very common one example. You read carefully. If there is except, please make sure you read carefully. Usually there will caps for you one, so you please make sure you pay attention. Okay, before you go exam, please make sure you get a good sleep. I want to tell you a real story here. I didn't make up the story here. One student of mine, he never sleep the day before. I don't know, too nervous or what. He just tell me he never sleep. And then you guess what happened? He chose to go to the exam hall and sleep inside the exam. He said he cannot hold it anymore. He has to sleep there. So he sleep in the exam. So please make sure that don't happen to you. Make sure you get a good sleep first. Sleep at home, don't sleep at the exam hall before you go to the exam. Okay, so just like that. Now, if you really are not sure of the answer, then you can try to eliminate first. Those that is obviously not correct, you eliminate. So the lesser choice you have, the more likely you get correct. Okay, now very important here, please learn to move on. This is like grandmother nagging. I already tell you many times. If you really do not know how to answer the question, you just choose the most likely answer, flag it, and then move on. Don't ever spend 10 minutes, 20 minutes on one single question, because that question only worth 2 marks. There is better future in the next question. There's a whole forest there. Don't kill the whole forest because of one tree. Okay? So if you really do not know how to answer, move on. Choose, flag, move on. Okay? Then you finish other question. Maybe you get inspiration later. Okay? So having said that, you don't ever leave a question unattempted. Never leave a question empty. So even though you don't know the answer, just choose one. No? Okay? Anyway, who knows you can get it correctly? Who knows, just nice, you get lucky, you get it correctly, you wouldn't know. So just choose the most likely answer, even though you do not know, even though you are not sure of the answer. Please make sure you don't leave anything empty. Okay? Now, the most important advice is this. The most important advice is this. Now, as a youngster, have you ever done things like this? You know what is this? Are you familiar with this? Don't tell me you never seen before. Huh? Even if you say so, I'm not going to believe you. Are you familiar with this? If you don't familiar with this, are you familiar with this? Even if you don't familiar with this, are you at least familiar with this? Okay, now out of the three, I'm very sure one of it, sure you are very familiar with. Now, just like you play game, you practice, right? You cannot win the first round one. You looks like a noob, correct or not? You get killed, you get bullied in the game. So you practice many times. Every day you hold the phone to practice. Okay, or what about Instagram? You post selfie, correct? You post nice photo, you post your OOTD, you post the food you eat today. Do you remember, what does it look like the first time you take the photo? You have to take 100 of them, correct or not? Then only you choose 2, correct or not? That's what happened with taking photo. Huh? So, no matter game or selfie or social media, you practice a lot, correct or not? What more about your exam? You need to practice even more. So please remember a very old saying, we call it practice make perfect. So before you go to your exam, please make sure you practice well. Okay, please make sure the exam feels like just another round of practice for you. You are so familiar with it already. Okay, why is this so important? Because only if you practice, you will know where is your weakness, how you should improve. Are you good enough for your exam? Are you familiar enough for your exam? So therefore, it is very important. Okay, so my advice to you, please make sure you practice well. Please make sure you try before you go to your exam. Okay, now with this, we are going to end the session.